Leo is an experienced pilot. As usual, he is getting ready for duty. However, today is very special for him, because today is his only daughter's birthday. So, before leaving for duty, he tells his daughter that they will cut a cake and celebrate her birthday together when he returns. Saying this, he leaves for the airport. Upon arriving at the airport, Leo learns that his co-pilot today is a young man named Kai, who joined recently. He also has a brief conversation with his third pilot, Wang. The pilots and cabin crew, including Kevin, have a meeting among themselves before the flight regarding weather and other crucial matters. The flight attendants thoroughly check everything inside the aircraft, lights, oxygen, food, and then permit the passengers to board. Shortly after takeoff, an argument breaks out between a flight attendant and a passenger over switching off a mobile phone. A senior flight attendant then arrives and handles the situation. The plane was flying smoothly, and everyone was busy with their own things, but none of them knew what terrifying situation awaited them ahead. After a while, the plane begins to shake. Leo contacts the control room and finds out it's due to bad weather. The pilots then get permission from the control room to take the plane to a higher altitude so that the air turbulence lessens somewhat. Meanwhile, inside the plane, the flight attendants serve meals to everyone, and gradually, everything starts returning to normal. In the cockpit, Leo and his co-pilot Kai are chatting. During their conversation, Leo hears a sound and notices a crack forming on the front windshield. They realize this is not a good sign at all, so they quickly inform air traffic control. They are instructed to climb even higher to reduce air pressure. However, even before their conversation ends, the plane's windshield shatters completely with a loud noise. Due to the intense wind force, Kai is halfway pulled out through the window, and Leo uses all his strength to pull him back inside. At that very moment, shattered glass pieces hit and ignite a fire in the plane's right engine. Everyone inside the plane understands something very bad has happened. The lives of all 119 passengers and 9 crew members are now in Leo's hands. Since the cockpit door was closed, the cabin crew and passengers inside couldn't yet comprehend what was happening outside. So, announcements were being made, requesting everyone to fasten their seatbelts and remain calm. Meanwhile, the third pilot, Wang, and the chief flight attendant, Binan, try to communicate with the pilots in the cockpit from outside. Not hearing any response from the cockpit, they realize something serious must have happened. Inside the cockpit, Leo is still holding on to Kai with all his might to prevent him from being sucked out of the plane. Leo then slowly releases Kai, who returns to his seat. Leo takes control of the plane himself and contacts the control room. At that moment, they were flying over ice-covered mountains. The slightest tilt would send them crashing into a mountainside. Suddenly, the plane turns sharply, causing all the passengers to lurch to one side. Panic fully sets in among the passengers, and they tighten their seatbelts. The flight attendants risk their own lives to help the elderly and children. Meanwhile, Leo is desperately trying to regain control of the plane. Leo gives the plane a sudden pull. This causes Kai to be pulled back inside the plane. He had intentionally done this to bring Kai back in. However, this causes the cockpit door to burst open suddenly. The intense wind pressure starts throwing everything into chaos. Oxygen masks drop in front of them. The flight attendants struggle to help everyone put on their oxygen masks. Now, Wang manages with great difficulty to enter the cockpit. There, Wang finds Leo shivering intensely from the cold and nearly unconscious from lack of oxygen. Wang immediately places an oxygen mask on Leo's face. Somehow managing to press a button, he brings the plane lower. Their communication with the control office is also cut off. So, nearby airports cancel flights and clear all runways for an emergency landing. Simultaneously, police and fire services prepare to handle any bad situation. The control room also dispatches 3 fighter jets to locate the plane and establish communication with Leo. Regardless of what everyone on the ground does, the lives of all the people on that plane are solely in Leo's hands now. Then, Binan informs everyone that they have lost pressure in the cockpit and instructs everyone to fasten their seatbelts tightly and brace themselves. The control room informs Leo that there is a massive ice-covered mountain ahead of them. To get past it, they must descend another 3,000 meters, otherwise they won't get enough oxygen. This is akin to a suicide mission for Leo, because only one engine is functioning, and due to ice chunks and wind rushing into the cockpit at storm-like speeds, seeing what lies ahead has become impossible. So, while passing through the mountains, the plane could crash into them at any moment. Meanwhile, people on the ground learn about the plane's dire situation. Relatives of the passengers on that plane arrive at the airport and begin crying. Inside the plane, the passengers gradually begin to lose patience. One passenger gets up to go towards the cockpit to see what happened and hits a flight attendant with a food cart. Then, Binan stands in front of him and, with great professionalism, says that whatever happens, they must now trust the pilot and keep themselves calm. Meanwhile, in the cockpit, Wang is trying his best to keep Leo warm, and Leo struggles through the storm, trying desperately to move the plane forward. Meanwhile, Leo's wife is preparing food for their daughter's birthday celebration. Just then, she learns the news of Leo being in danger, but, without panicking, she comforts their daughter. Inside the plane, Leo slowly begins to lose consciousness. He sees a vision of himself cutting the cake at his daughter's birthday party, but the next moment, Wang wakes Leo up. After that, Leo navigates the plane through the dark clouds, searching for a way. Everyone in the control room sees on radar that the plane is moving forward through gaps in the towering mountains and the stormy dark clouds. Then, the situation inside the plane worsens. Due to severe shaking, luggage from the overhead compartments starts falling on them. Everyone on the ground was praying with all their hearts. But suddenly, when the plane disappears from the radar, everything seems to freeze. Everyone assumes the plane has crashed. But no, surprisingly, the passengers are still alive, and the plane is still flying. Now, Leo pulls the plane's lever and begins to climb to a much higher altitude. This increases the vibrations inside the plane even more, and the situation progressively worsens. Only one thought is running through Leo's mind. The lives of the 119 passengers on that plane are now in his hands. After much effort, the plane finally emerges from the clouds. Simultaneously, the situation begins to normalize. These passengers, who have seen death up close, now start talking among themselves about their secret matters. Many record final videos for their loved ones to leave behind. Just then, the plane descends much lower, where there is sufficient oxygen. The pilots remove their oxygen masks to see better. They also manage to re-establish contact with the control room. The control room instructs them to prepare for an emergency landing. Everyone inside the plane begins preparing for a crash landing. Finally, the plane touches down without any issues. But the danger isn't over yet. The runway was quite short. The plane continues moving forward forcefully, but at the last moment, they pull the lever hard. This brings the plane to a stop right at the very end. Seeing this, everyone breaks down in tears. Then, Leo takes the microphone and apologizes to everyone for such a disastrous flight. Everyone on the plane thanks Leo for saving their lives. Afterward, one by one, all the passengers disembark and hug their loved ones. The authorities bestow upon Leo the title of Brave Pilot for saving so many passengers' lives. Leo takes out his phone from his pocket, calls home, and says he will celebrate his daughter's birthday shortly. Meanwhile, the remaining passengers from the flight go their separate ways, towards their destinations, carrying the experience of a terrifying plane journey. And pilot Leo remains a one-man army in everyone's eyes.